Well, at one point, Disney actually came around and optioned your life rights for 2 years.
Yeah.
Was that around the time that you stopped doing all this?
Yeah. I stopped and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try to sell my story to Hollywood. So I just started hitting producers up, and a producer liked it. He took it to his manager, and he put me in the option for 2 years while he shopped it. And then after that 2 years, then ABC Signature came along. Netflix wanted it too, but we had went with ABC Signature. I went in a 2-year option. They wrote the script, they got the script, everything, and then the writer's strike happened. So wasn't nobody buying. So, yeah.
How much were they paying you for these options these 2 times?
I can't say, but...
But it was enough to make you stop stealing cars?
No, it wasn't enough to make me stop stealing cars, but I just know how to stay out the way, so I was fine. I was fine.
Okay.
I was fine with the money, yeah.
Okay, so ultimately these life right deals have expired both times.
Yeah, so I got my rights back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, look, life happens, right? The one thing you're guaranteed is uncertainty. You could wake up tomorrow and you need an operation and you don't have insurance, or, something bad happens to someone close to you, or, suddenly you lose money. If you have your money in stocks, the stock crash happens. Do you think that if your back is against the wall, you'll go back to doing what you're doing? Or at this point, you feel like no matter what happens, I'm done, I'll figure out a different way?
Nah, no matter what happens, I'm done. I just make a call. Somebody will give me the money. I did a lot for a lot of people. I did it, and I'm fine. So no, I don't got to go back. But if I ever did, well, I'm not even gonna say if. I'm not, but I would run it better than anybody that's running it now. It would not be the crime rate would not be so high as it is, and everything. It's not organized. It's not organized crime. It's just a shit show now.
Okay, so you're aware of some of the other guys that are running these types of operations?
Yeah, I see it on Instagram. I see it on the news. They get caught in 5 days. I didn't get caught for 7 years. And I was out in the open. I'm in front of a police station. I'm coming to New York on Jerome Avenue. Is that right off of George Washington Bridge? I think. As soon as you come off of George Washington Bridge, you make a right, and there's a little block right there. And I think it's a police station right here. I used to come right there and bring cars right there in front of the police station. But I did everything out in the open, so don't nobody believe you when you do shit out in the open. They be like, oh, he fraud. And they used to think that I was making money in my basement. They thought that I had counterfeit money because I had so much money. But I kept everything in the open, and people, I'd be like, yo, I'm a millionaire. They'd be like, fuck out of here. I'm like, all right. And then when it came on the news that I got caught, that's when everybody believed.
Okay, so how are you supporting yourself these days? Because you're still fairly young.
Yeah, I am. I made a cushion for myself. I'm all right.
You're right. Okay.
I'm all right.
Well, Skinny Keem, man, a hell of a story. It's, I've interviewed a lot of people, and no one quite has this type of story. Just the boldness of it, as well as the ability to keep things under the radar. I remember, Freeway Ricky Ross, he's a regular on my show, and he used to always tell me that the way that he stayed under the radar was that he would always just dress bummy, drive around in buckets. I knew people that knew him during that time, and they thought that he was one of the crackheads. They didn't know that this was the biggest drug kingpin in America, because he never presented himself that way. His friends would, and they would all get picked off, one by one before him. And he actually had a fairly long run. I mean, eventually he did get caught, but it seems like the dudes who are the flashiest and want to show off, especially in this age on Instagram, people tell on themselves every minute.
Right.
Every minute. But you actually managed to run an operation, and at the end of the day, they caught you with what they can catch you with, and it seems like you did okay with it. You're one of the few people that I feel like has kind of rode off into the sunset.
Yeah. They wouldn't have caught me then either. It was only 2. And my girlfriend was telling me, she said, my girlfriend at the time, she said, don't fuck with this nigga, because I can't trust nobody that wears Louis Vuitton sneakers and a Gucci belt. The day that I was getting set up, the day that he bought me the fucking X5, that same day. He got in the car and everything. But the cops still never seen me. So he told them everything. I never got out the car. I always had tent. I never got out the car. So even, except for the Audi, I got out because I had to come on a lot. But yeah.
Well, like I said, man, I've interviewed a lot of people, and it usually comes with a bunch of jail time or a lot of shootings and stabbings and so forth. But you actually, like I said, managed to ride off to sunset and be okay. And as long as you live below your means,
Right.
and not get into trouble again, I hope that you really do put all this behind you, because I don't want to hear a story about how you're, get caught up for a bunch of stuff. Appreciate you telling your story, man. Wish you all the best.
Thanks, man.
That's what it is, man. Peace.
All right.